Hello and welcome to Feed Your Body, Fuel Your Life, the podcast where we dig deep into the world of health, fitness and nutrition. I am your host, Aaron Snee, and I'm delighted to have you guys join me on this journey to better living and high performance. This is not just another fitness and nutrition podcast. My mission is to help us redefine how we fuel our bodies, change how we perceive fitness, and pave the way for a lifetime of good health. We are about nourishing your body, optimizing performance and enhancing longevity. Whether you are a regular gym goer, an aspiring athlete, or just somebody that wants to improve their health and longevity, this podcast is designed with you in mind. From debunking common diet myths to exploring the science of anti-aging, from optimizing sports performance to nurturing mental resilience, we cover it all. Today we are going to be diving into the topic of prolonged low-calorie dieting and the negative consequences that prolonged low-calorie dieting can have. When people first set out on a fat loss journey, they automatically jump to low calories. That's their first protocol. They automatically go to low calories. And although low-calorie dieting does work, doing this for prolonged periods of time can have negative consequences. The issue here, I believe, is people look at what certain weight class athletes or bodybuilders or what it takes to get in a photo shoot condition. They automatically jump to the extremes when it doesn't really have to be your first protocol. Athletes have to do, especially weight class athletes and bodybuilders have to do certain things to get themselves in the condition they need to be. For boxers, kickboxers, etc., they need to make a certain weight. For bodybuilders, they need to make a certain body fat percentage, sometimes a certain weight as well. So they often have to do things that aren't really healthy. And what people don't seem to realise is it's only for a short space of time that these guys do this. It's not for prolonged periods of times. It's short, 8, 12 weeks max, and there is even detrimental effects to their metabolisms that they have to deal with on the way out of the dieting phase as well. So what is the definition of a low-calorie diet? Well, according to the NHS, on the NHS website, for women it's anywhere between 12 and 1500 calories, and for men it's anywhere between 1500 and 2000 calories. Now, when I speak to people, and I speak to people a lot about this, that is their default calorie range. And sometimes people even tell me that they struggle to lose weight in that calorie range. Now, there could be a whole host of things happening here, but 9 times out of 10 it's just that their perception of the calories they're taking in isn't quite on point. So when people think they're eating 1200 calories a day, they're actually not. They're eating 1200 calories on some days, but then they'll be making up for it on other days, and this is what's causing their inability to lose weight at the calories. Because if you are actually taking in the calories every day, you are on really low calories. Now, there's no doubt about it that low-calorie dieting works. It does work, but it shouldn't be done for prolonged periods of time because there is a whole host of possible negative consequences that come along with that. Anything from your metabolism down-regulating, to nutrient deficiencies, etc. So we'll start with nutrient deficiencies. When people look at food, the world nowadays, everybody knows about calorie deficits. Everybody knows about sort of macronutrients and things. People don't look past that. Food and nutrition is essentially fuel for your body. Anything that's termed essential, like vitamin C, essential fatty acids, things like that, our bodies cannot manufacture or store it. So we need to get that from an external source. We need to get that from our diets. And then when you're living on prolonged low calories, it is much harder to get the micronutrients in. It's much harder. And if you do this long term, this could result in massive nutrient deficiency. One of the biggest things as well with low calorie diet, and especially for long periods of time, is adherence. It's really hard to stick to all the time. It's really, really hard to adhere to. So in my experience with people, it's better to have a slower rate of fat loss and more calories in your diet, because the biggest thing for people is behaviour change. And when you're going from having a ton of bad habits to borderline starvation, you really struggle to keep that up. Now, when I touched on weight class athletes, bodybuilders, etc. at the start, these guys are pros at augmenting their body weight. They're absolute pros at dieting. They know when they enter a harsh dieting phase that it's going to be hard, and willpower is going to have to be high. It's going to have to be really high for them to get through that. And they also know it's not forever. They also know it's for a small period of time, and once they're done, they'll go back to normal and they'll elevate their calories back up. Normal people don't see this approach. They seem to think they could hit a low-calorie diet and then go back to old habits, and it's impossible. The habits that got you in a bad spot in the first place, you're just not going to be able to go back to them, because you will rebound and you will end up worse off than you are at the moment. Another negative consequence of prolonged low-calorie dieting, or low-calorie dieting in general, is inadequate hydration, poor hydration. Now, this is partly to do with salt intake, electrolytes. Unless you're really on top of that and really salting your food and hydrating properly, you can run into issues on low-calorie diets, partly because of carbohydrate intake as well, because the more carbohydrate you take in, the more water your body will store. I think it's for 1 gram of carbohydrate that your body consumes, you store 3 gram of fluid. So when you take your calories low, a lot of the times the calories that get removed come from carbohydrates, so your body is less able to hydrate properly, which can result in decreased performance, which is really important for everybody, athletes or the general population, because you don't want your workouts to suffer. You want, when you start off, you want your workouts to be as quality as possible. So yeah, impaired performance is another side effect of prolonged low-calorie dieting. And as I just touched upon there, you want, whether you're an athlete or whether you're a regular gym goer, you want your workouts to be as high quality as possible. Now, that's another misconception around training. People think when they start, they need to live in the gym, they need to spend 6 days in the gym. What your focus should be in the gym is quality over quantity. 4 high quality workouts in a week, or even 3 high quality workouts in a week, will beat being in the gym 6 days a week and having really low energy, poor performance because of low calorie dieting. And that brings me to my next point. So, will prolonged low calorie dieting damage your metabolism? No, but it will slow your metabolism. This is due to something called adaptive thermogenesis. So in layman's terms, it's just your metabolism slows down because you're taking in less food. Body fat is stored as excess energy for when you need it. So from an evolutionary standpoint, if there was a famine or any type of starvation, you would have some fuel reserves on your body to survive. When you are in a low calorie state, a lowered calorie state, your body then slows down your metabolism slightly, adapts slightly, so that your body could hold on to the body fat stores that are there for a little bit longer. Now, it doesn't stop the fat loss altogether, and it doesn't alter your metabolism forever. This is transient and reversible once you move out of the dieting phase. But if you are on low calorie diets for a long time, you will run into some issues. So when this happens, this will definitely slow your rate of fat loss, because your metabolism is slowing down to match the calories that are coming in. Another thing it does is highly increase your chances of regaining all the weight back, because picture a scenario: you are underfed, your metabolism slows down a bit, and then you don't think about the diet after the diet. You just go back to old habits, you go back to eating out, you go back to drinking, you go back to excess calories every single day, and your metabolism is running that little bit slower because it won't change overnight, it won't upregulate overnight. Because that's running that little bit slower, you are primed for what they call a rebound. You are primed for fat gain. That is why people go through constant cycles of losing 10 pounds and then gaining 15. You always seem to end up worse off because you haven't had an exit strategy to your period of low-calorie dieting. And that brings us to the mental side effects, the psychological side effects of prolonged low-calorie dieting. When I'm working with people, I try and make their nutrition as simple as possible, but also as easy as possible as well. I try and keep as much food in their diet as possible, just because it will help them stick to it. Dieting is hard, fat loss is hard. It's simple to set up, but it's hard to stick to. So the mental side effects could be the feelings of deprivation, missing out on social events, feeling food guilt, feeling like you can't have certain things, and when you do have certain things, maybe binging because you've been so hungry, and then that leads to food guilt and possibly over-restricting, entering this binge restrict pattern that I see so often with loads of people, and I've had loads of issues myself with that. Other side effects could be like fatigue, severe fatigue, and you just want to let down. All the time that's to do with your metabolism slowing down and slowing down something called NEAT, so your body starts to tend to move less. You have mood swings, you have severe food cravings. And now back to what I was saying at the start of this episode about athletes. When athletes enter into these hard dieting phases, they know it's a necessary evil to get to where they need to go. Now, if you just want to look good 24/7, feel good 24/7, and maybe even run up to a holiday, look good on the beach or whatever, you don't need to go to the extremes. And if you choose to, make sure it's only for a short period of time. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks max. Because entering into this long term, if that's your thought process around diet and nutrition, long term you will end up ruining your relationship with food, and you will end up with peaks and troughs. You will end up binging, you end up restricting again, binging, and over time your weight will just climb and climb and climb. You'll never be able to get it under control. And lastly, lowered immunity and bone health can suffer on prolonged low-calorie diets. Again, as I touched on before, nutrient deficiencies can easily happen when you're not eating enough food. In today's world, it's common knowledge about calorie deficits, common knowledge about macros. That's all anybody ever shouts about, and people have kind of lost sight of that food is there to provide us with nutrients as well as energy. That's what calories are. Excess energy is stored as body fat, yes, but if we're constantly eating too little and not getting enough vitamin D, not getting enough calcium, magnesium, things like that, our bodies could end up depleted over time, which could end up with lowered immunity and compromising bone health. So in conclusion, are low-calorie diets effective? Yes, of course they are. They're effective for fat loss if you already have the relationship with food and the self-awareness to know that it's only going to be a short-term thing. As I've said before, sometimes for athletes it's a necessary evil to make a weight class, to get to a certain body fat percentage, or any of that type of thing. For you, the general public, it's less important. It's not a matter of you need to make a certain weight or you need to make a certain body fat percentage for the beach or whatever. But if you do enter into low-calorie or very low-calorie dieting phases, make sure that you enter them with an exit strategy and you enter them knowing that it is only a short-term thing. Otherwise, you will definitely run into some of these problems that I've highlighted in this episode. Thank you very much for listening to me. My name's Aaron Snee, and I will be back again very soon with another episode. I'm glad I've got this one done because I've been really nervous about getting this one done. Thank you. Cheers.